But right at that very moment... Oh! Oh! Without getting dragged into a single fight, he made his way straight to me. Ew, I just thought, dude, all the Christian imagery they have, are they trying to say that he's like they're like, what's the, like a representation of Christ right now? How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here, back with some more Chaos Head Noah. And last time, Yua fought with her maybe twin sister, but seemed to be a delusion in her head sister. But, oh, well, actually not seemed to be. It ended up being a freaking nerd with a rucksack again that was posing as her. And so, you know, we were trying to figure out, did Yua have multiple personality disorder? Did Mia actually die? Did she not die? It was a big confusing mess, and I'm still not entirely sure exactly what happened, but we're led to believe that Yua is Yua, and that dude was just trying to deceive her and to kill her for whatever reason, probably because she's a gigolomaniac. During the struggle of nearly getting thrown off of a building by her fake twin sister Mia, she realized that she had a D-sword, which is interesting, and she whipped that bad boy out and slashed the crap out of a guy, and the guy that was trying to throw her off, and all that jazz, or wait, I can't remember. Did she hit him? Anyway, Ayase came at some point and then stopped the guy for good. And so that was where we kind of left those two. They literally heard Bon in the background get shot, didn't know, you know, never went back to it, and so I've been frustrated ever since then because I want to know if Bon actually died. Then we went to Dimi, who apparently went straight to the Nozomi headquarters, or wherever they have Noah 2 at, found Noah 2, was confronted by Norose, and who she apparently knew and was afraid of for some reason. And then we found that not only is Nanami real, but all the stuff that happened to her that Takumi thought happened to her actually did happen to her. And she was put up on a cross type thing, I'm assuming to power the Noah 2 machine. She really badly wanted her bangle back, which she thought Dimi took from her, and then she herself also whipped out a D-sword and was about ready to maybe tussle with Dimi, and that's kind of where we left that. I don't know, man. I'm literally, if anything I'm saying to you is confusing, ditto. I have no idea. I'm just here for it, man. I'm just here for the ride. That's all I can say. And so now we're here with Takumi and what I can only assume is Delusion Nanami now. So without further ado, let's just get back into this, shall we?
Let me be selfish. Just this once.
I saw Nanami crying. She was hanging her head low, and while she was trying her best to hold them in, tears ran down her pained face all the same. I took one look at her, and then I returned my gaze to the ceiling, resuming my mission of counting the rusted spots. Cry all you want. There's nothing I can do for you. I'm a delusionary existence, after all. A delusional...
Don't say that! There's no way you're a delusion, big bro. Because I remember you back when we were kids. I've always taken care of you. And even though I can't say you're reliable, you've always been with me. Ever since I can remember.
Wait. She was right. It was just as she'd said. I had memories from when Nanami was little. I had memories from my childhood. I had memories of watching the news reporting on the bus accident my classmates had been in. The one that happened on the field trip I hadn't been able to go to. I even remembered my teacher, Mr. Saito, who had passed away in the accident. The words of Dimi, a total stranger, or the words of Nanami, who I'd grown up with. It went without saying which to believe. The right person to believe wasn't Dimi. The right person to believe was Nanami. If Nanami was real, that meant that I too was real. Nanami. I extended my hand toward her. Nanami's existence was my one and only hope. The sole existence that would save me. Well, I mean, I think she's alive, right? I think she's real, right? Because, if anything that Dimi's going through right now is to be believed, it's just the thing he's looking at isn't actually her, so. Save me. Nanami. Save me.
Big bro.
If Nanami's warmth was real, then I could prove that I was real too. Well, not really. I mean, again, I feel like Descartes was the one who said it best, which is that I think, therefore I am. Well, that's not technically what he said, but that's the gist of what it ends up adding up to. Which is about the only way you can really prove that you're real. The fact that really what he said was that if I can doubt that I'm real, then I can think. And if I can think, then that means that I'm real. So in other words, if I can doubt, then that means that existence is real and that the things that I'm experiencing are real and all that stuff too. So, whatever you can feel with your hand doesn't necessarily prove that, I guess. Nanami, who had been crying from loneliness, wiped away her tears, looked at me with her reddened eyes, smiled at me with her tearful smile, and...
Will you hug me?
I nodded. Then again. Then again. Then once more. By doing so, if I could save Nanami, by doing so, I could save myself. I would gladly hug this bratty little sister of mine, no matter the time or place. I would hug my one and only sister in this world, the one that shared my blood. Nanami, save me. I wanted to feel her warmth as soon as I could, and so, opening my arms to welcome her into my chest, I prepared to hug her. Tightly. Ever so tightly.
Big bro!
But right at that very moment... Oh! Oh! Uh-oh! Nanami's body was enveloped in a faint light, and she burst into countless blue particles. Yo, oh no, he's gonna freaking tweak again. One after another, the particles burst like bubbles in the air in which my arms remained extended, never receiving the hug I so desired. My chest never feeling the warmth I so desired. Right before my very eyes, Nanami had vanished. Frick. Oh no. Bon? Please? Gosh, dang it. Okay. Alright. With only her left hand, Nishijo Nanami tightly embraced the D-sword that had been born of her own blood. Her right arm, meanwhile, only lay upon it. Her blood, seeping from the bandage on her right wrist, slowly ran down the sword's fuller.
It hurts. You knew? You knew she was a gigalomaniac?
Dimi's question was directed at Norose, who had evidently chosen to remain a spectator. No matter how much Dimi glared his way, he always retained the same composed look on his face. A fortunate coincidence, if you may.
After doing all these horrible things to her, you think you can just say that? What do you mean, coincidence?
Simply that there was no need to go to the same great lengths that I had with you. After all, my company already has a well-established method on how to awaken gigalomaniacs. Oh, frick, he was her first test subject. Okay, wait, okay. So, I was still thinking Dimi wasn't real, but that kind of makes her seem super real now. Unless he doesn't realize he's talking to a delusion, that's the only way. So, I guess I have to kind of assume that she's real then. Oh, man. Okay. So what did he do to her, though? And why her specifically? Okay. But in opposition to this, Nishijo Takumi is the only one to which this method does not apply. I must say, there is nothing more difficult to handle than that irregular monstrosity.
Don't you dare call him that!
Why, may I ask? Is it perhaps because you are one as well? You are one? You are... Huh?
That's not what this is about.
Allow me to rephrase. Perhaps someone born from nothing. Wait, someone born from nothing? Oh, she's also a delusion then! Wait! That's what that means, right? Wait! If I've been right this whole time that she's been a delusion, dude. I thought for a second he was... So how do you work on a delusion, though? Is Nanami her actual self? And then freaking Dimi is her delusion? No way if that's the case. Alright, no way. Oh, frick. Wait, is that where this is going? Is that why she went to go save Nanami? Because Nanami's actually her real self? Dude, if I'm right and she was a delusion this whole time, holy crap, I'm gonna yell in the comments. There were some of you that freaking said she's real. She got hit in the face. That proves she's real. I was like, no, I don't believe it. I still think she's a delusion. If I'm right, dude. Dude, I think I've been right on almost everything this far. It's just taken a long time for it to tell me. Hold on. I don't want to get too excited. I want to wait. That seemed like pretty damning evidence, but let's see. Hold on. Averting her gaze, Dimi bit her lip in frustration. Her trembling had yet to cease. In direct opposition to her wish to save Nanami, her legs refused to move. It was as if they had taken root inside the floor. Norose, meanwhile, caressed Nanami's head almost lovingly, acting as if he was under no threat whatsoever. Nanami had no reaction to this. She simply hung her head low as she repeatedly drew shallow breaths. A spotlight, illuminating a single spot amid the endless darkness. Around it, countless corpses lying on the floor, with none being able to see them. Not even you yourself.
Stop it!
And if, say, you committed suicide, the spotlight would move a few dozen centimeters, and you would be swallowed by the dark. Then, another someone, unaware of everything, privy to nothing, would in turn be bathed in the spotlight.
Stop!
Prompted by Dimi's sharp tone, Narose shrugged his shoulders, then returned to silence.
It hurts. I want you to let Nana-chan go.
Whatever do you mean? I have already released her restraints.
I'm taking her with me.
Feel free. I have no use for her anymore. Dude, what the frick?
Okay, Nana-chan. Let's go. You can dispel the sword now. Then, give me back my bangle. I will. So please.
Dimi knew where Nana's hand was being kept. On that day. On the night Nanami's hand had been delivered to Takumi's room. After Takumi had collapsed from sheer humiliation on the roof of O-Front, Dimi had retrieved the hand from within the refrigerator. Oh, that was real! The hand was real, and she did actually steal it. Oh no. Shogun was the one who had it now. It was in cold storage to keep it from decomposing. The bangle, too, was...
I got it. From my big bro. It's mine. It's my bangle. Taking it away from me. How could you?
Nanami's voice, which had only been speaking in incoherent mumbles, was gradually growing more and more intense.
Calm down. Take deep breaths. I need you to pull yourself together.
If I may ask... Norose's sudden interruption elicited a click from Dimi's tongue, though only in her mind. Which of you two is the more important being to Nishijo Takumi? Yo. Dimi cast her eyes downward.
Dimi-san,
While Nanami instead raised her head. A sparkle returned to her once empty eyes. A glaring, brilliant shine. One that warranted only a single descriptor. Abnormal. In a panic, Dimi frantically attempted to brace herself. Huh? Only to be frozen in place by the sudden darkness. What was that sound? That's the sound when I freaking pause the game or something, or when I click on options. What the frick was that? It was as if all the lights had been turned off. Dimi had no way of knowing whether it had been intentional or accidental.
I can't fail here.
Dimi whispered so in an attempt to encourage herself. Her voice made the air undulate, but it melded itself into the darkness before long. She then noticed that she could no longer hear Noah 2's growling rumblings.
I hate the dark. It always reminds me of back then.
Dimi tried looking around, but all she could see was darkness, spread through every corner. No speck of the concept known as light existed. Could she not see because it was dark? Or could it perhaps be because her sight was not working properly? She had even lost the ability to tell up from down. She could not tell where she was anymore. Her 5 senses had been eroded by darkness, and now her body was unable to recognize anything. As if her body had been turned into a gas. As if her consciousness had slipped away from its vessel. Past and present fused as one, and Dimi's memories began to intermix. When was now? When was the past? Oh, hi. Naked girl, okay. Then, in the world ruled only by sheer darkness, a single ray of light shone down. And there, within that circular spotlight, was Dimi, cradling her knees close to her chest. Dimi was seeing this very scene from within the darkness.
It's the same as back then.
Back then, Dimi had nothing. Before she knew it, she had been confined and tortured. But rather than anything physical, the psychological pain she suffered had been far greater. A daily life born from the depths of hell. A daily life consisting solely of enduring. How she had been before that, Dimi did not know. When and how had she been confined? For how long had she been tortured? That, Dimi did not know. But something told her that this was not due to memory loss. The moment she suddenly opened her eyes, a consciousness known as herself had been born. Or so she felt. Perhaps the one inhabiting this body before her, unable to escape from all the pain, had ended her own life within her delusions. And then perhaps, as a new her, a new personality, the current Dimi had been born. Perhaps there had been countless other hers before her. Even the name, Sakihara Dimi, may have been different each time.
To myself, I don't exist.
Something moved amid the darkness. Dimi stood up, then slowly began to move toward it. And as she moved, so did the spotlight. And what she found was a dead Dimi, lying on the ground. Without ever looking at Dimi, a whisper flowed from Dimi's mouth.
What number are you?
What the frick is happening? Oh no! What is this? Oh no! Oh, her hand! Oh frick! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! What is happening right now? Oh frick! They just threw her into a delusion. Okay. Dimi's eyeballs twitched incessantly. An endless amount of tears ran down from the corners of her eyes. Her D-sword then slipped from her hands, and Dimi sank to the floor. What the frick? Much like a child would, she covered her face with her hands and weakly shook her head.
I'm sorry. I couldn't do it.
Nanami stared at her with a vacant look on her face, while Norase let out a short, disinterested snort. What the frick, man? What was that? Nanami had vanished without a trace. She had turned into bubbles before my very eyes. Her substance had simply ceased to exist. Nami. Where are you? Come on. Come out. I know you're here. Is this another prank? You're hiding. Stop hiding from me. My vision grew blurry from my tears. No matter how many times I wiped them away, the lukewarm droplets kept pouring out. But both this warmth and the feelings making me shed these tears were delusions. I myself was one, after all. Nanami had been a delusion. I'd been stupid to believe it would all be okay. My hopes had been crushed just like that. Hey! When will I wake up from this delusion? Please, can it hurry up and happen already? Not even I knew who I was talking to. But right now, I was fine with anyone. I just wanted to be heard. I'm sure once I wake up, I'll actually be an alpha. For sure. With an understanding little sister and a gentle big sister. I'll be going out with a cute girlfriend. She won't be some insane schizo like Dimi or Senna. She'll be a good girl like Seiratan. You are a delusionary existence. Groveling on the floor, I buried my head in the mountain of trash and tightly gripped Seiratan. I tried my best to avert my eyes from reality as I pounded the floor with my fists, but I couldn't. Dimi's words pummeled my mind relentlessly. I want to die. I want to die. Why? Won't anyone kill me? Hey, Seiratan, can you kill me? Kill me.
Do you really want to kick the bucket that badly?
I want to die. I can't. I can't take it anymore. I can't take my own existence. My own existence anymore. I don't want to think of anything. I don't want to keep on living.
Aww, poor little Taki. In that case, I'll show you a real quick way to do it.
Oh my gosh. This is why you're my waifu. Seiratan always devoted herself to me. Commendably so.
For starters, get your patootie outside.
She's gonna make him jump.
Outside?
Doing as I was told, I stood up and headed for the door. And then, after nearly tripping and falling over trash countless times, I exited my base. I had no need to question her. Seira-tan would never betray me. She was my waifu, after all. And she wasn't 3D. It's gonna make him jump. Why is the method that they keep wanting people to kill themselves jumping off of buildings? What does that mean? What is the purpose of that? The group dive did it. Ayase did it. Yua almost got pushed off of a building. And then now I'm assuming we're about ready to be told to jump off a building too. So like, that's gotta mean something, right? Senna almost fell off, well, she technically did fall off the building and then Dimi saved her, right? So, like, what is up with that as a motif, you know? What the heck? Once I was outside, a strange sound hit my ears. This sound, hadn't I heard it somewhere before?
Okay, now you just gotta follow the sound.
If I do, will someone kill me?
Yupperoonie!
I wonder, will they be gentle?
You've got my word, Snookums.
Oh, thank goodness. I can finally die. This sound was my messiah, the bell of salvation that would grant me passage to the promised land. With Seira-tan in hand, I set off toward the sound. Dude, this Christian imagery and wording and stuff, dude, what is up with that? Whenever I got close to the sound, it would move farther away, almost like it was guiding me somewhere. Every time I seemed to be onto it, it would quickly become distant. Every time I seemed to lose track of it, it would come close and wait for me, as though it had a will of its own, a sound with a will of its own. It reminded me of Shogun's existence. His face flashed through my mind, but I quickly grew indifferent to it. Whether it was him or someone else, as long as someone killed me, I didn't mind. I even stopped wondering about the true nature of the sound. I was a delusionary existence, and I was going to die pretty soon, so there was no point in caring. With my head completely empty of all thoughts, like a moth to flame, I staggered after the sound. What the frick? A barrage of noise now surrounded me. I was unable to differentiate any of them. With a click of my tongue, I tried to find the origin of the clamor, only to gulp instead. Huh? Suddenly, without having realized it, I was standing in Scramble Crossing. It was then that I realized that the clamor was coming from the sheer number of people crammed into the crossing. It was almost jam-packed. Everyone was pushing right up against each other, like a morning train ride during rush hour. Compared to when I'd been broadcast from the top of O-Front, there was an even bigger number of people here. Now that I thought about it, Grimm had mentioned something about this. Something about there being a festival at Scramble Crossing tonight. What the heck is this, Seira? I have nothing but horrible memories of this place. Why did you bring me here? Oh shoot, another delusion! I wasn't thinking we'd have to make another decision. Wait! Uh-oh, wait. Dimi told us no more delusions. Should we stop? Dimi told me to stop, but do I listen to Dimi? I don't know if I believe her or not. I'm scared. I don't know. I think she's on the down low. She just got attacked by Norase, right? And if nothing else, she may be just like a figment of Nanami's imagination, like a branch off from her own self or something. Should I trust Dimi? I probably should, and not make a delusion. I probably should. I probably shouldn't do another delusion because she said not to. Right? Right? I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
For revenge!
Where's the person who's gonna kill me, Seda?
Right in front of ya.
Right in front of me. This tremendous crowd on this cold autumn night. Just what kind of festival could make so many people gather here, to the point of there being no room to breathe? All right, I didn't do it. I'm trusting Dimi because she went to go save the real Nanami. So I don't know anything anymore, but I'm going with freaking my gut on this one. I don't know if it's smart, but Dimi could easily be a delusion that's still a good delusion and wanting to help us, but I just don't know. I still think Shogun's trying to help. I don't know. I can't hardly do this anymore. Suddenly, the wall of people opened up before me, like I was Moses from the Bible. A single path, inviting me in. They were all watching for one person. Me. It's the reality TV show that's sweeping the nation. Today's episode, the world's most terrifying offline meet. People from all over the net have come to lynch the biggest embarrassment in all of Japan, Nishijo Takumi, right in the middle of Shibuya. Their catchphrase, "Whose eyes are those eyes?" When that long scenario played out in my mind, I laughed. As much as I hated pain, as long as I would die, I'd be more than willing to deal with that much. What a perfect festival for me to die at. I had finally grasped what Seratan had meant by revenge. I hadn't died the last time I was here, so they had prepared this stage just for me. Forming a lazy smile stemming from the corner of my mouth, I started making my way through the path between the people. At the end of it, I could see various members of the mass media standing next to each other like idiots, cameras and microphones in hand. Both the onlookers and the mass media were incredibly tense. There was a tiny bit of commotion, but nowhere near the amount you'd normally hear at a festival. All this energy they'd had back when I'd humiliated myself atop O-Front was gone. Everyone looked at me. Their eyes were cold and sharp, staring daggers at me with what felt close to murderous intent. Whether I liked it or not, my expectations were swelling higher and higher. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. When I looked up, I realized that all 4 of the enormous jumbotrons were showing footage of me walking through the crowd. I was sure that, just like last time, this was a national broadcast too. If the viewer rate was even 40%, I would die while being watched by approximately 48 million people. The death of me, which was no more than a delusionary existence. The death of me, who had no value whatsoever. The death of me, who was wholly and entirely worthless. Is that what you all want to see? Well then, congratulations. Here you go. It doesn't matter either way to me. As long as I die, I don't care how many people see it. And so, I stood before the battery of cameras and microphones. A swarm of flashes burst in unison. Blinding lights flashed intermittently. Straining my eyes, I fought to endure them. Then, a reporter that was probably in his 40s spoke up. I had seen him on a number of talk shows before. Nishijo-kun, what kind of performance are you planning to show us today? And while I've got you here, there's been some talk about the crucifixion suspect that was arrested this morning. The people are saying that they were just a pawn and that the mastermind's still out there. You got any thoughts on this, my friend? Why was this random guy acting all buddy-buddy with me? And what was the last part supposed to mean? Was he asking for my opinion? Huh. I guess when the media called up the criminal psychology professors every time, and they always said the same standard, uninteresting bullcrap, even an amateur like me could serve as a replacement. Regardless, I couldn't have any less of an opinion on what the guy was asking about. I had lost all interest in New Gen. I'd come here to be killed, not to answer questions. I had no energy for it. Well, anyway, Nishijo-kun, I'll just get straight to the point. The true culprit is commonly referred to as, whose eyes are those eyes? And there's been some rumors about it potentially being you. It very well might be. My whispers were broadcast all throughout Shibuya via the Jumbotron speakers. Commotion ensued. The bloodthirsty atmosphere got even stronger among the people gathered here. I don't care. Just kill me already. Set me free. Stop asking me for things. And yet, despite my wishes, the microphones came even closer. They were pushed so violently toward me, the next step would be shoving one straight in my mouth. The other reporters, too, were raining questions down on me incessantly.
Are we to take this as you admitting that you have a part in this case?
Have you ever been unable to distinguish video games from reality? What is your relationship with the suspect that was just arrested, Komaeda? Please give us a statement.
Do you view killing people like it's some kind of video game?
In a sense, I was like a video game character. Someone, please reset me. Just get me to game over once and for all. Just kill me already. As soon as those words left my mouth, the crowd, at the peak of its tension, exploded. Kill yourself! Inhuman garbage!
Freaking savage!
I'll kill you myself!
Burn in hell!
Get the death penalty! I'll freaking kill you!
Murderer!
I was overwhelmed by the waves of people, and as the screams and shouts swarmed, I was swallowed up by the undulating masses. I was tossed around and jostled, crushed to nothing and pulverized. Being shoved by people in all directions, my body started floating. My soles left the ground. No matter how much I struggled, I couldn't do anything. I was struck on the head, punched in the arms. It's interesting that this was his greatest fear, was feeling pain and getting hurt. And now suddenly he's having like an entourage of pain just thrown on top of him. I wonder what that means. But none of it was painful enough to kill me. And with no room to breathe, I started to suffocate, but I didn't resist. I entrusted my body to the chaos, and in doing so, the pressure suddenly disappeared, and my body fell to the floor. Seiratan fell from my hand and toppled onto the asphalt. Countless feet lined up like trees in a forest, and as they writhed about, my waifu rolled through the gaps between them. Despite extending my hand, I couldn't reach her. Her face, complete with that endlessly radiant smile of hers, the smile that soothed my soul, was stepped on by someone's shoe.
Taki! It hurts! Help me, Taki!
Her small body was kicked farther away, and some lady in red high heels ended up crushing her torso.
Taki! You big...
Seda? No matter how much I called out to her, no answer came. My one and only ally was gone. It felt like my chest was being crushed by sorrow. I had lost all reason to stay in this world. To live. Yo. And when I looked up, surrounded by people as I was, even the night sky was hidden away from me. No one noticed I was there, slumped down on the ground. Even though I was right here. Even though I was asking for someone to kill me. Why was everyone ignoring me? Suddenly, I felt it, right on the nape of my neck. That tingling sensation. God's gaze. You. And within my mind. Can't die here. A certain voice rang. I gulped. Obtain your D-sword. And firmly gritted my back teeth. Shogun! Oh, frick. I searched for that wheelchair among the crowd. For that jerk cosplaying as Darth Spider. So you were the one behind this festival, huh? I knew it. Are you planning to wheel out here and threaten me? All while you're in your offensive Darth Spider cosplay? You trying to recreate what happened last time? I wished for death. The entire time I'd been alive, I'd just been some tool for everyone's amusement. And I couldn't take it anymore. The Shogun from back then wasn't me. I don't tend to cosplay. What? That wasn't him? That's why it was just a fake thing in a wheelchair. I just thought it was Shogun projecting himself onto that. Like he had to have something that looked like himself, but wasn't himself? Oh, what? That wasn't him? I don't care. Just kill me, please. They're starting to take action. This place will soon turn even more chaotic than it already is. They? The masterminds behind everything. The ones causing this chaos. And the people using it for their own interests. No one but you can stop them. I stood up. The angry voices kept surging above my head. No one was looking at me. The onlookers and the people from the media were all jumbled together, grabbing each other, cursing at each other, punching each other. Why were they? The silent weapon. Noah 2 is already in operation. The one and only motive behind this chaos is
indiscriminate human experimentation.
Something hard hit my head. A sharp pain ran through me. A pain so intense, I thought my skull had been broken. My hands automatically shot up to my head, cradling it. As I looked around with tears in my eyes, I found a rock on the ground the size of a fist. A tiny smear of blood colored part of it. Someone had thrown that rock, and it hit me. A throbbing pain coursed through me. Moving my hand toward the source, my fingers touched something sticky. Bringing my hand down in front of my face, I saw blood on my fingertips. My own blood. I heard a dry explosion in the distance, followed by a lady screaming. A gunshot? There were people with guns here? Why was everyone so worked up? Why was everyone fighting each other despite being total strangers? Why was this so chaotic? The villain's sacrifice everyone was waiting for wasn't mine?
Shibuya's GE rate, biorhythms, are rising to unprecedented levels. Like I told you before, indiscriminate human experimentation. Everyone here is under an invisible attack.
Oh, frick. Then, I heard a sound. A creaking, rusty sound. So is he, is Takumi, immune to it? He is still a delusion, right? So delusion Takumi is resistant to it? Apparently normal Takumi also is too? I don't know. A sound akin to a dying woman gasping for air. The sound of a wheelchair. Despite how many people there were, despite the wall of people surging erratically, Shogun moved his wheelchair forward. And, without bumping into anyone, without getting dragged into a single fight, he made his way straight to me. Ew. Ever so small, with a body of skin and bone. He was covered in wrinkles and looked so frail, it was as if he might break at the slightest touch. His eyes were cloudy as could be. I didn't know what he was looking at, nor what he saw through those eyes. I couldn't bring myself to look away anymore. And suddenly, the tumult surrounding me began to grow distant.
I've been watching you. Always.
It was Shogun watching us this whole time? What? It was the same voice as the time we had first met. It wasn't that strange voice I'd heard at O-Front. Who are you?
I'm you.
I frickin' knew it. I frickin' knew it, dude. I gotta point that out again. I'm doing a dance right now because I frickin' called that crap so long ago. But I did think he was like the inside of us, you know? I thought he was like an inner part of our head. But it turns out we were the inside of his head, being a delusion. So I guess I was half right, but I'll still take it that he was freaking us, okay? That he was freaking us this whole time. I frickin' knew it. Gosh dang, baby. Let's go, baby. 5 head out here. And with those few words, I finally understood. The one who envisioned me in a delusion. The one who created me. The one behind God's gaze. Was you.
Yes.
He was my creator. The existence who had envisioned me within a delusion. Someone who I could never hope to match up to. What the frick? What does this mean? What's your name?
Nishijo Takumi.
The real me. The original me. How old are you?
The same as you. As far as your backstory goes, that is.
17 years old. Even though he was so small. Even though he was covered in wrinkles. He was only 17 years old.
If things stay this way, the world will die. Everyone's mind will be put under the control of Noah too. That's why I entrusted it to you.
What? Entrusted? Entrusted what, exactly? I don't understand. I have nothing to do with any of this. I beg you, erase me. I want you to erase me. Hurry. Shogun's wrinkles stirred. He was likely making an expression, but I couldn't see it as anything other than wrinkles shifting on his face.
This is all my fault. All because I happened to delude IR2.
What?
I tried my best to stop it. But with my body like this, I couldn't do what I wanted to. That was when I created you.
He created us to do his bidding for him, to do his work for him. Oh, frick.
To have you stop it.
I know nothing about any of that. Just because I'm your copy doesn't mean I want to do the same things you do. If the copy is the only one who has to suffer, I don't want to be a copy. Just let me die.
You're not a copy. You're another me.
Uh-huh. Like another world line you? In other words, a copy. Do you realize how horrible what you're doing is?
I know. And I could never apologize enough. But there was no other way. It is no overstatement to say that the fate of the world rests on your shoulders. That's why.
Why? Why can't you just ask Dimi to do it? You're acquaintances, after all.
Acquaintances.
I'd said that on purpose. I didn't want to think they were lovers or good friends. And so, only then did I realize my feelings. I was jealous of the original me. That was rich, coming from a delusionary existence. What a freaking disgrace. I couldn't believe myself. There was not knowing your place, and then there was this. My own feelings made me want to throw up. My emotions continued to spiral. I wanted to die.
Dimi left to save Nanami, but was imprisoned instead.
Huh?
Dimi, well, she tried to save me. The reason being, one you should already know.
What?
Is that The sky? That sky. Why is it so blue that it makes me want to cry?
Because someone wished for it to be. What?
I didn't wish for it.
No. But I did. Because this place is your image world. But at the same time, it is mine as well. Oh, right, we saw this in the very beginning, didn't we? I think we did, didn't we? Was that this game? I think we did see this in this game. I might be thinking of Atori as well, because I think Atori had something similar. So I was thinking maybe that's where I saw that, but I remembered seeing like a girl in like walking in the sky, you know? I think that was this game. Shoot, I can't remember now. Interesting. Yeah. That's what I remembered. Okay. Dimi turned toward me. She stared at me, her face deeply puzzled.
Who are you? There shouldn't be anyone here other than me. Are you another me?
No.
Then, who are you? How did you come here? This is the inside of my heart. Here, there's never been anything but darkness. The only light was the spotlight shining down on me. And yet, the moment you arrived, the darkness vanished, and the sky appeared.
Our delusions synchronized, something that was only made possible by your immense power.
Oh.
Dimi looked up toward the sky once more. It was a crystal clear, azure sky.
I've never seen the real sky. When this current me was born, the current personality, I had already been locked in a dark room. There was nothing but darkness, both inside and outside my heart. I've never been allowed to leave that place. Just now, I was trying to die. To make my heart kill itself. I'm sure all the previous me's have done that too. But since you brought the sky to me, would it be okay if I carved this scenery into my memories? That way, the next me can envision it.
Do you want to die?
Yes.
Don't you wish to see the real sky?
Say, is there really a sky out there?
There is. But the real sky is far more polluted than this one.
Where is it? That sky, where is it?
Wherever you wish for it to be.
Is it okay for me to wish for it?
Of course it is.
How do I wish for it?
Light is composed of electromagnetic waves. The oscillations of these waves are what people perceive as color. If you apply the color you desire to your own dead spots, you can create the color of the world you desire. The world will meet your wishes. Several days, even months, perhaps, had then passed since that encounter. And one day, Dimi had come to my hospital room. She and I were fellow patients at the same hospital. Fellow possessors of something that transcended human understanding. The power of gigolomania. An attribute we were unsure whether to abhor or to take great pride in.
Big bro, you've got a visitor. So, who is she? Is she your girlfriend? When'd you get one of those? Way to go, big bro! We meet again.
She was deeply haggard. Her skin was morbidly pale. Her hair was dry and neglected, growing according to its own whims. Her fingernails were cracked. Her eyes constantly squinted as if dazzled by a brilliant light. Were you able to see the real sky?
Yes. Oh, right!
Nanami, who had been watching us talking, suddenly clapped her hands in apparent remembrance.
I've gotta go do the laundry. What was your name? Dimi-san? Well, you two have fun.
Nanami left the room. Dimi and I vacantly watched her depart. Dimi then turned back toward me.
How long have you been hospitalized, Takumi?
About 5 years.
Is there an estimate on when you'll be able to leave?
No. I have about 2 more years until I die.
Thanks to you, I was able to hang on. I thought it would never end. But even so, I told myself to keep going. Until I could see the sky you told me about. But then, all of a sudden, I was allowed to leave. Though it's probably more accurate to say, I'd served my purpose.
I see.
You saved my life. So, this time, I want to pay you back. I want to be your strength.
You don't need to worry about that. You don't have to go out of your way to see me. From now on, I want you to live a normal life.
But I don't know how to live a normal life.
Dimi's past. Dimi's feelings. Dimi's resolve. My chest tightened as I remembered them all. Why did Dimi approach me? Her being close to you allowed her to watch over your actions, the people who would come in contact with you, as well as prevent you from awakening. What does that mean? Is this a Nozomi thing? What? What does that mean? Please don't resent her for that. She's just a hopeless meddler, after all. A tinge of sadness appeared in Shogun's voice. Was she a patient, or was she a nurse of some kind? I don't understand. What the frick? Because she was a gigolomaniac, yes? So she was another patient? But frick. Did she die? Was she the one that died? I couldn't hardly tell because they didn't show faces or nothing. I couldn't tell who was talking. I didn't want to involve her, but no matter how hard I tried to keep her away, she wouldn't listen. Despite everything I said to her, she felt that she was indebted to me. She truly is a hopeless meddler. What? What do you mean, brother? Who is holding Dimi and Nanami captive? The one in charge of Project Noah. The mastermind behind it all. Norose Genichi. He is also the one who captured and tortured Dimi in the past. And yet, despite all the suffering he's put her through, Dimi went to confront that man alone. Also, she could save me, Nanami, and you. A voice echoed within my head. It uttered the words of a Dimi I didn't know. Words she had spoken to Shogun. Dimi?
Yeah, it's me. Truth is, I have something to report. I think it's time to go and save Nana-chan now.
Do not. I know you don't want to see that man again. Norose.
You don't trust me, do you? I'm telling you, it'll be fine.
This was the phone call conversation she was having in that alleyway. Yeah, the one where we couldn't hear the other person talking on the other end. Oh, no.
Besides, that's all in the past. If I have to choose between my feelings or saving Nana-chan, I think it's pretty obvious which one I'm gonna pick.
Saving Nanami and putting an end to Project Noah is my responsibility. You don't have to go that far.
Like I told you, I want to be your strength. But also, I don't want to drag Taku into this.
Ever the meddler, aren't you?
Maybe. Though, you're the only one who says that about me. Hey, is it okay if I tell you something? It won't take long. I told Taku a lot of awful things. And while I know it's selfish to say this after everything I've done, all the time I spent together with him, it was all really, really fun. Even though it was all make-believe. Even though it was all steeped in delusions. My school life. Taco and I going to that school. Being friends with Daichin. Me trying hard to stay by Taku's side. And even Taku's existence itself. Taco is so helpless, weak, and pathetic. He's the kind of boy a normal girl would never even look at, let alone go near. And yet, despite it all, my heart tells me how fun it was. Despite it all, my heart tells me how much I wanted to spend more time with him. What do these feelings mean?
It might be something similar to imprinting.
Like, it's something instinctual? That would be surprisingly romantic.
If that all made you happy, I'm sure it must have made him happy as well.
If that's true, that'd be really nice. Because Taku and I, we have a lot in common. A body created through delusions. And a personality created through delusions. They aren't so different, are they? That's why I couldn't bring myself to erase him, even though I'd convinced myself that I had to. I guess I grew attached to him at some point. I just want him to live a normal life. I want to help both Takumi and Taku. So please, leave Taku out of this.
I can't do that. He has to destroy Noah too.
I can take care of that.
You don't need to do that. You should be the one to live a normal life.
Well, I've got to hang up now.
Dimi, don't!
It'll be fine, really. You don't have to worry about a thing. I promise I'll put an end to everything myself. Okay, Takumi?
After it was already too late, Dimi's words sank into my heart. She really was a hopeless meddler. Why did she have to keep fighting so hard? Why did she have to keep acting so selflessly?
Because I'm on your side, Taku.
Memories of Dimi all came back to me. Memories of the short time we had spent together until now. Memories of the feelings that had been hidden behind every word she'd said.
I'll stay by your side.
Over the past year and a half, if I had to summarize what I'd done, it'd mostly be ESO, RMT, and Idoge. I devoted myself entirely to those things, all while staying shut inside my base. I'd barely gone to school, and I rarely tried to talk to anyone. Born into this world, I'd lived as though I were dead. But for the past month or so, that had changed. And even though, as a result of this, I'd been lied to,
We'll go to school in the morning.
she had stayed by my side. She had stayed by the side of someone like me.
Talk about whatever comes to mind in between classes.
She had given me peace of mind when I was quivering in fear.
Eat together at lunchtime.
She had supported the failure that I was, encouraged me.
Then at the end of the day, we'll head back home.
She had embraced me.
Sometimes stopping by a shop or two on the way back.
She had taught a delusionary existence like me the warmth that humanity held.
Then when we do get back, we'll chat for a bit in your room.
She could have erased me, and yet, she had tried to protect me.
And then, when we're all tuckered out, we'll say goodbye with a nice wave and a see you tomorrow.
She had made memories with me.
If you're fine with that, I can definitely go the distance.
In my 1.5 year long life, I could still vividly remember the time I had spent with her. Even now.
I've always wanted to be that person for someone.
Dimi's little gestures. Dimi's scent wafting from her hair. Dimi's little sighs and the sound that came from them. Dimi's glimmering eyes. Dimi's cheerful voice. Dimi's tender warmth. Ah, I see. I was in love with Dimi. How disgusting was that? What a freak. A wry smile crept onto my face in response to my own creepiness. A delusionary existence falling in love? Were feelings of love something that a delusionary existence could feel? Or were they a mere illusion? I really didn't know. But I wanted to be true to these feelings. Dimi saw me as a friend. There was no way she saw me as someone of the opposite sex. Besides, an otaku freak like me wouldn't go well together with her. But even so, even if she didn't love me back, even if it was just for my own satisfaction, even if I was just a delusionary existence, I at least wanted to do something for someone. For Dimi. Before I disappeared. It was disgusting that a disgusting otaku freak would fall in love. It was disgusting that a disgusting, delusionary existence would fall in love. But so what? Even if it was disgusting, even if it wouldn't go anywhere, I didn't want to brush these feelings away as mere illusions and delusions. The memories of this past month were both Dimi's and mine, mutually recognized between us both. I wondered if that was going to come into play. Even if the rest was just make-believe, these memories, and the feelings born from them, were real. I want you to save the world. So Shogun said. I shook my head. I'm no hero. I'm not even human. What are you thinking? Asking someone like me to save the world? I know how terrible it is to ask this of you, but there's no other way. Apologizing to your own self? Do you realize how stupid that sounds? I glared at the real me. The real me caught the fake me's gaze. I hate you. I envy you. I won't do it for the sake of the world. I couldn't care less about saving the world. I'd be the one to give meaning to my birth. But I will save Dimi. Thank you. The sounds around me started coming back. More and more oil was being poured on the fires of chaos. It had already become a riot. I was hit with the smell of blood. Around me, I heard the sounds of screams, shouts, moans, and a mechanical noise that sounded almost like audio feedback. It all pooled together and overflowed across the crossing. Tell me how to get a D-sword.
You should already know how.
My gaze moved upward, looking for the silhouette of a sword blending into the scenery. Wait, is it there? Can I see it? No, not yet. Rocks were thrown around. Canisters of tear gas made smoke rise from the ground, and people from every direction crashed into me time and time again. In the center of it all, I focused and sought the sword I had once seen from the roof of O-Front. It had to be visible already. Without a doubt, it had to be here. Somewhere. I still don't see it. Lost amid the scenery. My D-sword was always right beside me. Now, seize it. Found it. On the building to the right of 107, there was a vertical billboard, and when I looked toward it, I saw the shape of a sword. Anxiety seeped into me. I swallowed back my saliva. When I had looked from the roof of O-Front, I had been able to perceive its shape. But in the end, I hadn't been able to physically grasp it. Hold on to your will to find it. You mustn't waver. You already are more than capable of obtaining your D-sword. I extended my hand as I stood in place. In order to save someone dear to me, I had to get it, no matter what. No matter what! I gritted my teeth. This wouldn't be like last time. My mind was surprisingly calm. I wasn't afraid. I couldn't be afraid. But it wasn't that I was keeping a cool head. Emotions simmered and boiled inside me. I had something I needed to do. Grasp it! 107 was about 100 meters away, and upon overlapping my fist with the sword, I grasped it. Even though I should have grabbed an empty spot in the air, there was something there. It was neither hot nor cold, neither hard nor soft. Keeping my hold on it, I drew it closer to me. Ripples surfaced across the air, and from within those ripples, it slid free. Hey! Whoa! Dang! Ooh! All too long to be called a sword. Delicate enough to shatter at a moment's notice. Pervaded with phantasmal elegance. Lacking any meretrious features. Absent of all garishness. With an immaculate malice, capable of swallowing one's soul whole, on which belonged an awe-inspiring beauty. Linking with my exalted heart, the design of the sinister flames on the handle flickered. I didn't even feel an ounce of weight. Rather, it was as if it was an extension of my arm, as though it had been there from the very beginning. As though it were part of my own body. It didn't feel like I was holding a sword. So this was a D-sword! I grasped it firmly with both hands. I should have been able to real boot it now. If I got it to be mutually recognized by my surroundings, the sword would be brought forth into reality. As for how to do it, I didn't know. I simply desired it. I shouted within my heart for it to become reality. All hesitation within me was gone. The D-sword, as if answering my call, started faintly shining. The flame pattern on the hilt transformed into real flames, flames which swiftly enveloped the sword. And yet, I felt no heat. Dude, this is like its Super Saiyan transformation, what the frick? Soon enough, those flames were swallowed by the entirety of the sword's body, and... Whoa! Together, with a fierce impact, the D-sword shone with a crimson light. A number of the people around me were surprised by my sword. However, it was only a handful of them. Only a handful were left dumbfounded by its appearance. The others were too focused on punching and kicking each other. The riots didn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. You must find the porters causing these riots. If you destroy the devices they hold, the heightened biorhythms should be alleviated. Porters? Those who exist as terminals for Noah 2. You yourself should have seen that hint already. It should be carved into your mind, as memories. I called forth all that I had seen.
Fly and cross, and now the promise will.
What? So, you've finally shown yourself. Now I've just gotta hold on to you and never let go.
It must be so hard.
Dude, this is like all his friends, baby! Except Bon wasn't really a friend, I guess, but whatever. Oh, he didn't experience some of these, though, I'm just realizing. Yeah, he didn't experience, like, any of these for the most part. Actually, I don't think a single one. Actually, now that I'm looking at them all. Faithworks Limited. Ever heard of them?
Give it back. Give my bangle back.
Location L2-8, 0.62 Mega GE, the highest score yet. What kind of magic trick is that? Nozomi. Within my company, they are what we call porters. More precisely, one could perhaps refer to them as mind control units. Yo. I'm speechless. All of the things I had unconsciously seen. All of the thoughts I had unconsciously read. Huh. Guess I am a peeping Tom. How in character. What the frick? Shogun calmly gave me orders as I laughed at myself. Open your channel and read the porter's minds, like Kozapi would. They are somewhere in Scramble Crossing. Search for them. Find them. I opened my channel. I didn't have to think about what to do. Without being conscious of it, I enacted it by feel alone. And then, the minds of everyone here, their negative emotions, became visible and instantly flowed into me. Malice, hatred, envy, lust, servility, cowardice, superficiality, corruption, cunning, indecency, hideousness, vulgarity, libido, madness, bloodthirst, It was the manifestation of the unsightly emotions people hid from one another. More brutal, unequivocal, and repugnant than words could ever be. All the negative emotions people held inside them became a torrent of images, and this torrent proceeded to swallow up, shatter, and violate my mind. I was verbally abused by words of disdain. Gazes of contempt rained down on me. I was spat on. What the frick is going on? I'm so I've just been chilling, man. I'm waiting to say anything because I don't understand. My nails were peeled off. I was punched in the face multiple times. I was kicked in the rear. My hair was torn out. My nose was chewed to shreds. My eyeballs were gouged out. My tongue was ripped from my mouth. My blood was sucked. I was showered with boiling water and covered with burns. I was raped in the rear. My genitals were crushed. All of my skin was torn off. My arms were broken. All of my bones were broken. I was beaten with a blunt weapon. I was stabbed with a blade. My organs were gouged out. My neck was strangled. I just thought, dude, all the Christian imagery they have, are they trying to say that he's like they're like like a representation of Christ right now? Like he's enduring all of the sins of the world all at once? Is that what's happening right now? My flesh was eaten by a giant beast. I was thrown off of a high place. I drowned in a pool of water. I had my entire body burned by flames. Having synchronized with it all, my mind was being broken. I felt like I was about to go insane. I gritted my teeth and desperately held on to my consciousness. Was this how Kozapi had lived her whole life? Control the delusions you want to see. Don't receive them all. Ring out the target. Use the sound to your advantage. The sound. All while enduring the negative emotions overwhelming me, I listened carefully. What came to me were voices from all around. Isolating them, I searched for the sound. I heard a mechanical sound. The one Seratan had said would kill me. The sound had also been inside the memories I'd gotten from reading minds. Senna had destroyed a porter's rucksack that had emitted the sound with her D-sword. So if I were to focus on that sound, the delusion I heard... May the divine light save us. May the divine light save us. There were multiple voices. There was more than one porter here. It looks like there are 3 of them. Holding my breath, I took a step forward. In front of me was the chaotic crowd. Without a trace of order, they moved throughout the scramble crossing as they pleased, beating each other within an inch of their lives. It would be difficult to go straight through. I hacked the delusions of the people in the direction of the target. And so, little by little, the people in my field of view made way. And there, a path was made for me. There was a single man about 50 meters from me, and all of the obstacles between me and him had now been removed. Our eyes met. He was a plump man in a suit, wearing a rucksack on his back. There's the first. Ooh! Taking the shortest path there. I ran. Straight ahead. Through the crowd. Without bumping into anyone. All without dragging my D-sword along with me. How? The porter, having noticed me, frantically turned around and tried to run, but I wouldn't allow it. Just like Senna, I swung my D-sword, a blade longer than I was tall. As always, it felt weightless. I could wield it like it was an extension of my arm. Ooh! The tip of the D-sword dug into the rucksack, and then, almost as if it had been melted at an unfathomably high temperature, its contents were vaporized. The man sank to the ground, cradling his head as he trembled from fear. Without looking at him even one more time, I headed for the second one. Below O-Front. Once again, the obstacles leading up to it began to disappear, and a path was built. Dude, he's just suddenly cool! How did this happen? The man who stood there was extremely thin, wore a checkerboard shirt, and a pair of jeans. It's gotta just be that, like, Dimi gave him the strength to be able to, like, push forward or something. He had long hair, and his skin was alarmingly pale. He seemed to be holding a bag, which he was treating with great care. Noticing me, he tried to blend into the crowd, but before he could do anything, I threw my D-sword. Fly. I formed a delusion. Ignoring all known laws of physics, it flew parallel to the ground, soaring faster and faster. Yo! It delicately corrected its path, then pierced the man's bag with unmatched accuracy. It emitted a faint light, and the man fell to the ground. Just one more. I approached the man now on the ground and retrieved my D-sword. The third one was right in front of Hachiko. I had seen that porter countless times by now. Actually, let me be more precise. I had talked to them almost every day. Grim? The crowd dissipated, and for the third time, a direct path appeared. And at the end of it was a woman wearing white scrubs, a fact that made her conspicuous as could be. It's Hazaki-san! Wait, but has she been Grim this whole time? Wait, because she was the one that drew the thing, I just realized! She drew the image, and Grim sent us that image! One of you in the comments told me that. And I think we also saw it in the beginning, right? Oh my gosh, Hazaki-san has been freaking Grim this whole time! It was a woman! He's been talking to a woman this whole time! No way! Yo, I was wondering who Grim was. What the frick? You're the last one. Hazuki-san. No. Grim. What? Oh, dude! Oh my gosh, and all this time I thought you were Mia, because of your eyes. The nurse who had smiled so gently to me at the hospital. Well, okay, let's just say it's not fully entirely off the table, although Yua did say that her sister died, so I wondered if that was the nail in the coffin in that part of the story, but there's still a chance that she could be going by a different name because she's in the hospital, AH Tokyo General, whatever, and she also just has the username Grim. Any of that could easily just be, you know, what do you want to say, pseudonyms, you know? So there's a glint of a chance, but we'll see. Was now glaring daggers at me. She had a large handbag with her. Most likely, there was a Noah 2 terminal inside. Reveal the truth. If you show all these people what she did, this fever-like chaos will subside. What she did? If she is Grim, you should have noticed the unnatural actions she's taken before now. Think back to the first time I made contact with you. I showed you a prediction of the crucifixion case. It was meant to be a wake-up call for you. But there was someone else. Someone who predicted the crucifixion before me. I remembered. I remembered the exchange we'd had at the time. The few moments before Shogun talked to me for the first time, Grim had left the chat room. But right before that, they'd posted an image as a joke. A drawing. Yo. The very same drawing that Hazaki-san had scribbled on the medical chart. The drawing had been very poorly done, but what mattered was what it was depicting. The crucifixion case. Besides, the first time Grim had talked to me about the New Gen case, they had said this. It's all up in your neighborhood, lol. Even though I had never told them I lived in Shibuya. Even a few hours earlier, Grim had left some comments that made it seem like they knew I was Nishijo Takumi. Oh, frick. You're a celebrity, so you'll be the center of attention. Did I miss that? I didn't remember him saying that. I remember the neighborhood thing, but I guess I mixed it in with when Grim said that he, or I guess she now, was from Shibuya as well. Did Grim really say that? I didn't remember this. The second time I'd gone to the hospital, Hazaki-san had said,
I'm afraid Dr. Takashima is no longer here.
And a week later, Dr. Takashina's corpse had been found. Yo. I swallowed back my saliva. Is she the real killer? Yo! Oh, what? Oh, no! Her mind was right before me. If I looked inward, I could see.
May the divine light save us.
Midnight fell on A.H. Tokyo General Hospital, the place of Hazuki Shino's work. Within one of its operating rooms, the nurse stood nearly still. On the bed lay a young man, Konoe Chizuo. The sleeping pills he had been given had induced a deep coma in him.
May the divine light save us.
As she repeated the same words over and over like a Buddhist prayer, Hazuki caressed her large, swollen abdomen. She slowly removed her white scrubs, then sat atop the operating table, scalpel in hand.
Salvation.
Ew, dude! Then, with no anesthesia to speak of, she incised her own abdomen. An incision so masterfully done, it would have earned her incredible praise from surgeons and obstetricians alike. Obstetrician? Well, I had never really heard of that occupation. Okay. Although she was a mere nurse, her surgical skills were quite remarkable. Even while enduring the uninhibited pain of her self-surgery, the incision she made in her abdomen was performed with the utmost dexterity. Blood and amniotic fluid flowed from the wound. Her face contorted in pain. Then, after a few grueling moments passed, Hazaki inserted her own hand inside her abdomen. And from within her, she removed a blood-stained fetus. What the frick, man? The fetus had yet to reach full maturity, and its forced removal had already ended its life prematurely. Hazaki performed an omphaloctomy, cutting her umbilical cord. Upon completion of this, she embraced her child lovingly, then placed it on the stand next to the operating table. With her hands now free, she began suturing her wound. The whole ordeal took nearly an hour to complete. With the sheer amount of pain the procedure procured, any normal person would have fainted long ago. What the frick? Returning the fetus to her embrace, she stood up from the operating table and approached the man lying down on the bed. That was her kid. What the frick? What the frick? This is the, second new gen case? Oh frick. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Oh my gosh. With bloodshot eyes, she looked down toward the unconscious man's face and thrust the scalpel into his abdomen. The movement was reckless and without care, providing a vast contrast to how delicate and accurately she had torn open her own abdomen before. The pain roused the man, but before he could consider any hope of escape, he realized both his arms and legs were tied securely to the bed. Disregarding the man's screams, Hazaki drew back the scalpel she had used to stab him. It cut through his flesh, tore through his skin. Blood gushed forth, covering her face in crimson.
May the divine light save you, sir.
She neared her hands to the victim's wound. And then, she forcefully began to widen it horizontally. The sound of flesh being torn open echoed throughout the operating room. The man's body started violently convulsing as the pain forced him to undergo a cycle of fainting, then waking up again. As she gazed at the gaping wound, Hazaki smiled a gentle smile. She then took her own child, which she had just taken from herself, and forcibly pushed it inside the man's gaping wound.
May the divine light save us.
No, dude, are they gonna show us all of the deaths? No, dude. No, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. No. Midnight fell on A.H. Tokyo General Hospital, the place of Hazaki Shino's work. Within one of its operating rooms, the nurse stood nearly still. On the bed lay her psychiatrist colleague, Takashina Fumio. He was tied to the bed, but this was not the only thing that had been done to him. His cranium had been opened, and his brain was exposed. His skull had been cut cleanly, the line being right above his eyes.
May the divine light save you, Dr. Takashina.
Hazuki-kun, stop this! Whatever you're doing, stop! Takashina was conscious. Due to the effects of the anesthesia, he did not feel any pain from the cut. The utter dread he felt kept his eyes open wide, and his body was sweating greatly.
Salvation.
Ignoring Takashina's pleas for his life, Hazaki retrieved a shiny silver utensil from the pocket of her white scrubs. A utensil that could not be referred to as a traditional surgical tool. It was a spoon, an all too ordinary piece of tableware. What are you planning to do with that? Stop this! Stop! Hazaki reveled in ecstasy. As if enjoying a meal of curry and rice, she took a spoonful of Takashina's brain. She then took the spoon and violently cast the contents onto a stainless steel tray. The pink brain tissue was pulped into a jelly-esque substance. Hazaki thrust the spoon inside the brain once again. This time, however, She accumulated even more matter than she had the first time as she scraped away the brain tissue. Takashina's own brain was getting removed from his body, yet he felt no pain, nor did he lose consciousness. As well as this, the anesthesia had robbed him of any freedom of movement whatsoever. All the man could do was tremble in fear. Those were your memories, weren't they? Hazaki Shino looked up at the projection in shock. On the scramble crossing's 4 massive jumbotrons, her very own memories were being shown. She couldn't even understand how it was being done. Perhaps it was Nishijo Takumi's power as a gigalomaniac. Your memories. With his head hung low and D-sword in hand, Nishijo Takumi murmured those words. The riot came to a halt. Silence was now the ruling entity. The thousands of people who had been assailing each other until only a moment ago were now looking up toward the screens. Some went pale. Some averted their eyes. Some felt such horror it compelled them to vomit. The mass media were starting to record Hazaki with their cameras. Countless blinding flashes ensued. It was you. You were the culprit behind New Gen!
You projected my memories as image data.
There's nowhere to run. A DNA test on both you and the fetus will reveal everything. Why did you do it? Tell me. Grim?
Neidhart. Because the glorious founder ordered it so.
Hazaki plunged her hand into the bag resting over her shoulder. From it, she retrieved both a Noah 2 terminal port and a scalpel. She gripped the scalpel and placed it right against her throat. Due to the nature of her position as a nurse, she knew the location of the carotid artery all too well. Hazaki smiled at Nishijo Takumi. It was a kind smile, much like the one she would so oft show her patients.
May the divine light save us!
Oh, frick! As her own blood gushed forth from her neck, her entire body was painted a bright crimson. What the frick? Oh my gosh. He's a real Esper. He's the Messiah. I knew that they had some kind of a thing with that. I knew that was some kind of imagery. I knew that that's why he felt like all of the sins of the world on him. They were trying to make him like a representation of Christ. What the frick? I didn't know who, but someone had mumbled those words. After seeing the sheer number of gazes piercing through me, I realized that those words were also directed at me. In front of a countless number of people, Hazaki Shino had committed suicide via slitting her throat. Although calling it a martyrdom might have been more accurate. The choking smell of blood filled the air. The riot had now entirely stopped. Hazaki Shino's memories of the crimes she committed, which I had projected directly onto the jumbotrons, ended up being the perfect thing to make the excited parts of the mob quiet down. The shocking nature of what had been displayed left everyone at a loss for words. What is happening? Even now, Hazaki Shino's corpse was still bleeding. A number of people then walked up to it and began kicking it. So he can project her memories onto the screen now, huh? So he just like unlocked all of his abilities suddenly. Is that what I'm understanding? It was the corpse of an atrocious murderer. So there was no respects to be paid here. Oh my gosh. Oh, so yeah, I guess Hazaki was just Grim. Not Mia. Wow. Man, I was kind of thinking, but no. Wow. So Mia was one of her first victims then. Is that what I'm understanding? And that would have probably been because it was in order to do so to freaking wake you up, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. There's so many questions that I have and they're not getting answered fast enough. Oh my goodness gracious. Next, they might even publicly behead her, like it was the Middle Ages. What difference was there between her and the ones kicking her corpse? By their very nature, humans were disgusting, horrible creatures. Myself included. All right, that's a base statement. See, this is something that nobody gets. I think I mentioned it before on here and on the Steins Gate Let's Play and whatever. But too many people think that humans are like good, like are good by nature. Like so many people believe that, you know, there's some good people out there, or most everyone is good and there's just a few monsters out there, right? But the truth is literally what this sentence right here says right now. By their very nature, humans are disgusting, horrible creatures, myself included. Like, by nature, we are evil. And when you can look at everybody as evil, then when someone does good, you'll see it as something that's like out of the ordinary. You'll lift up the little things that people do for good. And when people do evil, you'll come to expect it rather than be appalled by it. You know what I mean? But like, because like the only way a person can be good is through Christ, right? Like there's just no, like if God took his presence off of the world entirely, like completely went away from the world, not only would the foundations of Earth's reality fall apart, but like people would immediately just start turning on each other, doing the most horrible things that you can think of under the sun. Because that's just how it is without God. Without God, there is evil. Evil is the absence of God. So like, I'm so glad that someone else understands this, because I feel like so many people believe in the whole, like, you know, I believe most people are good and then they turn bad. No, that's so not the case. Everyone starts out evil, maintains their amount of evil until they are, like, molded and formed through, like, God's principles and stuff. They don't even have to believe in God. They don't even have to believe in Christianity. They don't have to believe in none of it. But as long as the principles are there, and are molded into them, they will start to have them and share them, right? They'll start to, like, as people would say, be a good person, but they're not really good. They're just doing, they're actually going against their nature is what I'm trying to say. So I think it's cool that it pointed that out. That's interesting. And it was kind of doing what I thought it was, right? From the beginning, I said Takumi seems to be, I may have only said this in the comments, but I can't remember. But I know, like, toward the beginning, I was thinking this of this Let's Play. Takumi seems to be the embodiment of all bad human traits for the most part. He's a coward. He's a pervert. He is antisocial. He cares a lot of malice and bitterness in his heart. Like, he has all of the bad traits of a human being for the most part. You know what I mean? And I felt like, I feel like they're trying to do something with that about humanity and, like, the fact that people are bad. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that it was, like, trying to say that, like, there's a little bit of Takumi in all of us type of mentality, right? Or maybe a lot of Takumi in all of us, but we just keep it repressed, right? Like, he just had that whole fire thing envelop his mind, and he felt all the sins of the world on him type of a thing. Right? He said that those were the things that people kept hidden, right? The things that they kept within themselves that they don't show anybody, right? I had a feeling that's where they were going with this, so it's really interesting to see that play out now. The media, like hyenas, were accumulating around anything that could act as a scoop. Roughly half of them had gathered around Hazaki Shino's corpse, and the other half were surrounding me. Nishijo-kun! Talk about a sight to behold!
Was that some kind of psychic power just now? So you really were an Esper! That's incredible!
Was today's gathering simply bait to lure out the true culprit from the get-go? How old were you when your psychic abilities first manifested? What was your nickname as a child? Have you ever been referred to as a prodigy or anything along those lines?
Do you plan to assist the police with their investigations?
Would you be willing to appear on one of our shows? One after the other, endless words of praise were thrown my way. Well done, Nishijo!
Ah! Takumi-kun, look over here!
You're incredible!
I love you! Please go out with me!
One after the other, endless words of affection were thrown my way. I felt hollow, hearing those voices. A fabricated image formed by public opinion and a delusionary being. They weren't all too different, were they? Yo! It was all coming back. The energy they'd all shown when they'd seen me up on top of O-Front. Shut up! Unable to take it anymore, I screamed. So now you're doing a complete 180 and calling me a hero? Are you freaking kidding? Tears started flowing. I felt completely miserable. I felt completely ridiculous. I didn't have it in me to keep going without crying. I wasn't a hero. I'm an otaku freak! I spend entire days fapping over Sanaton sexy figures like a freaking pervert! I'm not 18, but I play a crap ton of eroge. I moe over sprites and CGs constantly. And in my head, all I ever think about are sexy delusions. I see a woman walking down the street. I imagine a harlot naked. That's who I really am! Tears and mucus smeared down my face. I forgot I was being broadcasted live across the entire country. It didn't even occur to me that I was shaming myself yet again. I couldn't help it. I was physically incapable of reading the room. So? Still want to call me a hero? Because I'm not. I'm just a lazy, delusionary, otaku freak. A useless loser who can't do anything on his own. The voices around me went quiet. The onlookers sank into silence. The people from the media looked at me dubiously. Within the heart of Shibuya, in the middle of the humongous scramble crossing, only my voice was echoing. That's who I am! I won't let other people like you decide who I am! I'll decide what I really am! I'm not your toy! I'm not some circus freak! I have crap to do! I'm not here to do whatever you want me to do! Dimi's smile appeared in my mind. I'm just here for the sake of those I cared about. I was here to fight, then disappear. But before I could voice that, I suddenly noticed that the night sky reflected in the corner of my eye was turning pure white. Uh-oh! Oh, frick! He's losing himself right at this moment and they're about ready to freaking flashbang everybody again. It wasn't a cloud. Nor was it snow falling a little too early in the year. By the time I realized it was the same phenomenon from back when the earthquake had hit, it was already too late.
The third melt? But it's too early!
The first thing I felt was the very earth itself beginning to rumble. The ground began to shake. The white in the sky was spreading farther and farther. The very next moment, I was struck with a violent ringing in my ears. It was such an intensely shrill, resonant sound. My head felt like it was about to burst open. Everyone else around me was covering their ears too. And then... the world was dyed completely white.